Go ahead. Okay, welcome everyone. So let the record show that this special board meeting being held on March 26, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. Can we stand for a pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we have a roll call, please? Present.
Commissioner Chang Crawley,
Present.
Commissioner Matoush,
Present.
Commissioner Slater Carter,
Here.
Commissioner Zemke.
Present.
Okay, the next portion of the agenda is public comments for items that are not going to be discussed as part of the meeting. So that's anything else you want to talk about. We do have one, no, and that's Sherry. Sherry, would you like to come and present? You have 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes, I understand.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The mic is on. Do I have to?
Now it's green. Okay. Can I, outside the 2 minutes, my daughter is doing much better, but still not completely out of the woods, but out of the hospital. So that's, okay. Now my 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right. The last meeting, I didn't know it was only 2 minutes. I thought it used to be 5. So I would ask that in the future, possibly, could you consider giving 5 minutes if requested by one of the harbor business owner representatives on an item that affects their business? I was the only speaker here in person. There was only one comment online. So that's a request for the future. The time clock. The time clock needs to be put either on the speaker podium or with you guys there so that we can see it. I don't look over here. I'm looking at you. And so that really doesn't work for people that are standing here trying to give you our information. And last, question and answer period. I was surprised there was no question and answer period after I spoke, other than the special one that was kind of made to ask for any kind of clarification or information after the public comment. It should be part of the due process and the transparency. So those are my things. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. And I see? Yeah, well, my daughter's not in the hospital. It helps. Yeah, okay. Okay, there we go.
Commissioner comments.
Thank you. I
Microphone,
got,
please.
ooh, and I better turn it on too.
Oh, well, there's high-tech things.
Online comment as well.
Oh, well, I'll wait.
Take that before-
No, I'll,
Yeah.
Okay. Smitty, go ahead.
Good afternoon. I certainly hope you can hear me. Hello, I'm unmuted.
Yeah, we can hear you, Smitty.
I
We
am
can hear you,
unmuted.
Smitty.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. In the follow-up comment to what Sherry was saying, I agree that 2 minutes is not nearly enough, especially for business owners within the harbor in meetings like this. You need to increase the time. And she kind of took all the wind out of my sails here. I was also going to comment about the question and answer period as well. She covered both of those. Thank you very much. Am I muted again?
hello, I'm on. We had a birthday to celebrate and one of the guests was going to be a just 2-year-old. And I bring this up because we ended up going to the Palo Alto Junior Museum and Zoo. I would recommend everybody go there. It's a small facility. It has a huge aviary rather, not aviator, aviary, with aviators in it, lots of big birds. There's pink pelicans and all kinds of interesting things. And it has in the center part then like mechanical things that kids can learn about. They have forced air coming up pipes, and they can put a ball inside the PVC and take their hand off and the ball goes up, and or it will balance on the stream of air. There's some mechanical things. And then there's a historical area that has dinosaur gardens. And they're very up to date because they actually have a model of a dinosaur with feathers on it, which is the new conception of these animals, as they were actually feathered. I'm bringing this up because I think every single board member here, except Virginia, who's been there and worked on establishing this. I think Jim should take his grandkids there. They would be fascinating. It's fascinating for very many different reasons, but I'm bringing it up because it's exactly the kind of thing that I'm talking about with our new learning center. And I'm thinking that we could, there's lots of things we can do, and we can go for the lower end of expenses to try and get this thing up and functioning. For instance, we can use shipping containers, because shipping containers are the modern Lego. You can use them in so many different ways. And but I want particularly the members of this board, but I'm telling everyone in the public who's either watching this, listening this, or even in the future, please go there, because it's one of the more fascinating science museums, because it appeals to all the age groups. I saw a guy sitting in a little teeny chair trying to link some things together on a table that would make the gears spin on the vertical exhibit. And I asked him what kind of engineer he was, and he said he's an EE. And I thought, oh, good, maybe you're trying to figure out how to make things work. But it's so I'm really, as you can hear, I'm very excited about this. And I think it's something that we need to just personally go to, so we can broaden our vision of what we're going to be putting together as a learning center here at the harbor. The other point is, I was talking to a local businessman who is very excited about the improved surfing since we did the beach restoration. And he has economic reports that are willing to say that are written from Australia and other places that say a good surfing area will bring in $1 million worth of income to the local businesses. And I don't know how we fit all of these together. I'm glad I've got smart board members, but I would see that both this early childhood science thing could bring, the surfers could bring their little kids over, and then they could all go for dinner somewhere or find a beer or something, and improve the local economy at the same time. So that's my thoughts for this week. Bye.
I'm going to thank Catherine for taking the time to go to the Palo Alto Junior Museum and Zoo, but I think I brought this up with Rochelle. So when we're moving forward or looking at our Ocean Center, or whatever we want to call it, actually the structure is what I've talked to you, George, and to Rochelle about in terms of the the public nonprofit partnership. Because that Junior Museum and Zoo has a Friends Board, which I was the president of, which Catherine has seen all of the changes that were made during the time I was on the board, and the partnership with the city of Palo Alto. So that's a model that if we want to move forward with a future, as we move forward with the future Ocean Science Center, or whatever we want to call it, that could be a model that we look at, because that is a true public nonprofit partnership.
No, I appreciate that. And in fact, many of the harbors up and down the state of California have similar kinds of things of various kinds of magnitudes.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ones that I was playing with recently and talking to directly was the one at Dana Point. It was started in 1977. A beautiful ocean science center. They get tall ships that come in. They do a lot of stuff. But when you look at the relationship that they built a relationship with the harbor as a PPP, a private public partnership,
Yeah,
which is
the same
it's similar Yeah, and there's a formality to that too. And one of these days we'll have an agenda item that'll probably go through a lot of that kind of stuff. But we have been looking at, learning what other people have done and how that could fit. So anyway, any other commissioners for comments? Tom?
No, go ahead.
So I was going to comment on the Caltrans parking island revision. Many members of the public contacted me about the terrible job that Caltrans did in putting in something that was useless to everyone, except somebody that didn't ever pay attention to highway vehicles turning, radius, trucks, or anything else that used the harbor. There's a huge discussion on Nextdoor about this. Caltrans has jackhammered out the offensive piece of concrete island, and it is now asphalted over, so it looks much better. And I hope everybody sees the effect of General Manager Pruitt talking directly to Caltrans and the members of the public that also contacted Caltrans.
This is being brought back to the board at the request of the board at the last board meeting. Asked to come back with some more information and also bring it back to a special meeting before the SAMA season could start, which for this area is on the 11th. There's two motions that are being put before the board for consideration. The first motion is to approve the commercial activity permits or authorize the general manager to approve commercial activity permits up to the limits defined by the ordinance, regardless of the vessel's home ports, or in the alternative, authorize the general manager to approve commercial activity permits only for vessels home ported at Pillar Point Harbor. The background on this is found in San Mateo County Ordinance 510.010E, which the district states the district may not issue commercial activity permits for more than 16 inspected passenger vessels and 6 uninspected passenger vessels. And the uninspected are also known as six-packs. Go ahead, Mel. Right now, the Harbor District has 8 of the 16 permits are managed by the Harbor District, and 8 are managed through Half Moon Bay Sport Fishing through their lease. Under the Harbor District's 8, there are 3 active permits issued now: Fishing Vessel Riptide, Ankeny Street, and the new Captain Pete. There are 5 available under the ordinance for issuing. And under Half Moon Bay Sport Fishing, there's 1 issued, which is the Fishing Vessel Queen of Hearts, and they have 6 or 7 remaining permits that they can issue to inspected passenger vessels. At this point, we have 2 applications pending. One is for the Fishing Vessel Out of Limits, and they already have a slip. They're 55 feet in length, and they carry 20 passengers. The other one is the new Easy Rider, 24 passengers and 48.5 feet. Those are the 2 inspected. Go ahead, Mel. The uninspected passenger vessels, otherwise known as a six-pack, the district, per the ordinance, can issue up to 6. There are 5 of the 6 issued. The names of the companies or boats are there: Cervelli, Fish on Sporting, Mooch Better, Real Screamer, Wild West, Saltwater. And there's 2 applications pending right now. One is for the vessel Here We Go. And the other one is for the vessel, I don't know the name. It's another 6-pack vessel. Registered with the state.
So,
Tanker City.
so the paragraph above the 6-pack paragraph, you have that the Harbor District has remaining 8 permits that are managed by us, and 3 are encumbered, and 3 have, and leaving 3 permits open. So what is, that's 6.
Yeah, that number should be
How many?
three permits been issued for inspected passenger vessels, and we have a remaining 5.
5, okay, for permits,
Right,
leaving 5 open for, this is for
inspected
the,
vessels,
yes.
which usually carry between 20 and 30 passengers.
Yes, okay. And, okay, and so the remaining 5 is what you're looking at for approval today, right? To fill
Yeah,
some of the
authorize-
remaining 5.
Because the salmon season opens up on
Right,
the
I
11th.
understand, but it's for the remaining 5 of
Yes,
the
up to the remaining 5,
uninspected, okay.
if that's what the board would like to do. Also with the 6-packs, the ordinance is written by the board and approved by the board. So the board has authority to modify the 6. So by ordinance, you're limited to by 6, but you can change that ordinance.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that, and the staff reports?
Yep. Pretty basic.
Because there's 2 motions, let's go ahead and do some discussion on that now. I'll probably get in trouble.
Go with the next page.
It's okay. Just-
we
We can do it
Let's
this
do that,
way.
but before we discuss it, that's the public.
Yeah.
We have people who would like to speak. Sharon?
President Domron, I would just,
Oh.
there's the 3 up.
Okay.
So you got the one motion authorizing regardless of home port. The second one's authorizing only the home ported vessels. Or, as always, the board has the authority to make a motion on their own. And regardless of what the staff recommends or put in a staff report. So there's unlimited. You're not limited.
Sherry, would you like to come up and address the group on this?
It was off before.
It is on now, correct?
It's on.
Okay,
So it's off now.
and it's off?
You're good. Yours is on.
Sorry.
Mine is on. The, There we go.
Now you're on.
I'm on, but no, don't start because I'm going to put this in front of my face. So I do this as quickly as I possibly can. I have some instructional assistance I'll hand out, but I'll read through this as quickly as I possibly can. So at that, start. I'm kind of extremely disappointed. We received no contact whatsoever by phone or email by anyone between last meeting and now. But the applicant was contacted. Commission is only receiving one side of the story. We've never met, spoke with, or contacted by Christian until just a couple of days ago when we met at the salmon meeting. Meanwhile, I also don't believe the commissioner's ever seen the inside of our shop or have an idea what we bring to this harbor and the respect we have among most of the community. The general manager told me he was really surprised and impressed by one of the times he came in. Boats in the San Francisco Bay have many opportunities. We do not. Bay tours, fireworks cruises, halibut striper trips, sturgeon, party cruises, among other. The Bay is much higher end. Their passengers pay whatever price the boats ask. Boats are going to run salmon trips from the East Bay down to Pigeon Point at $300 a person, so operating out of the harbor is not a necessity, but a preference. We presented a petition on Sunday to other vessels, owners, crews, liveaboards, and customers to see if they agreed. Sunday was a slow day, but almost 60 people signed it, several saying they agreed but couldn't sign it for confidentiality reasons. And one person that I approached didn't sign it for his own personal reasons. Off the dock sales boats themselves said they had a fight to ensure sales were limited to local vessels only. Transit or short-term vessels were not allowed. We were contacted by only one charter boat in the bay. Due to the knowledge of the way he operates, we declined. I have an email about that. So obviously, it's not about us making money. It's about operating by the rules. We could have solicited boats to come work for our shop if it was about making money, but we did not, because we still believe it could be detrimental to the boats here who have been hanging on by a thread. Charter boats had to work out of one of the two shops. If they didn't follow the rules, they could be terminated. I'm almost to the end. Outside charter boats if allowed should be considered transit until it's proven that they plan to make Pillar Point their home port. To prevent undercutting bait shop, if you want, make it an equal fee. We charge 10% for a full service operation. I know, I'm sorry, I'm stopping. If the harbor wanted to do a 10% of their gross to the harbor with no service provided until the home port was established. Why through the end of the year? I don't know. Should be a probationary period. And last, we are only using one permit due to the current status of the industry over the past years between COVID, rock cod restrictions, 6 days of salmon fishing in 3 years, restaurant changes, and boats coming and going. Any questions I can answer? No, okay. Can I hand this out to you?
Yes, oh, certainly.
Is that allowed?
Yes.
Okay, so,
As long as there's one for each one of us and one for the public.
yes, and this is the petition on the top that we had people read.
Thank you.
And if they agreed to it, fine. If they didn't, I told them, I have no problem. I understand completely. The second one is the email that we received from the boat on the East Bay that wanted to run out of our harbor and I got enough. I guess you get it too.
All right.
Okay, and the last one is what I tried to say as quickly as I could. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Ingles?
Hang on one second, please.
Oh, my goodies.
I need to read the wrong thing. Am I on?
You're on.
Okay, my name's Bob Ingles from Half Moon Bay Sport Fishing. Used to be the owner of Queen of Hearts for over 30 years. My first job here in the harbor was 1979. I've seen a lot of boats come and go. But one thing was always consistent to get a permit out of this harbor to work is it took months of meetings, due process and proper vetting and that's for the permits. And competition was mentioned at the last meeting from what I saw. And competition needs a level playing field and make it a commitment that you're going to stay where you're at through the good times and the bad times to help the harbor. That helps level the field in the process. Following the commission's recommendations, you're allowing to take the cream off the top and let the boat leave when the fish move back up the north, back up the line. That isn't level. That's giving the boat a distinctive advantage and over the home port charter boats. Now the bay boats running down below Pigeon Point is the same as us trying to run up to Point Reyes or Bodega Bay. Some years ago, the commercial fleet needed help with the dock sales, and the commission, rightfully so, helped them out by coming to the aid of their plight by making sales for home port vessels only. Well, CPFVs are in the same position right now, and we're asking the commission for help. The few boats that are left have been a long-time tenants for up to 40 years. And this is not just for our shop, this is for the boats that are left in the harbor here. But instead of help by supporting the recommendations, they get just the opposite if you support them. They need to help to sell their tickets. What the lack of transparency and due process and seemingly willfully and forcibly a competitive disadvantage on them by following the recommendation. So after failure of the other bait shop, those 8 permits should have been restored. Yes, the 8 permits should have been, we need a new EIR. Thank you.
Grab that, please.
Oh,
Okay, Christian Kavanaugh?
Good afternoon. My name is Christian Kavanaugh. I'm the owner of Big C Charters. I run the Outer Limits, a boat that's been part of my life for a very long time. I actually started deckhandy on the boat when I was 11 years old. So this boat means a lot to me. Over the years, we've worked hard to build Big C Charters into a well-known and trusted name. We've developed a reputation for running a clean, high-performance, and professional operation that consistently delivers results on the water. One of the biggest things we bring in our customer base, we're not relying on walk-up traffic. We have a database of thousands of loyal anglers across the Bay Area who actively follow us. When the Outer Limits moves to Pillar Point, we're bringing that community with us and driving traffic into the harbor. When I began exploring the move to Half Moon Bay, I made a point to follow the process as it was outlined. From what I could find, the different ways to obtain a commercial activity permit weren't clearly laid out, so I followed the path that seemed most straightforward and appropriate. I started by obtaining a slip and working directly with the harbor, which felt like the right way to move forward towards seeking the CAP permit. From the beginning, I've made a genuine effort to approach this as the right way and follow the proper steps. Operationally, we aim to set a high standard. We take pride in running safe, effective trips and maintaining a level of professionalism and realistic expectations for the harbor. With the business standpoint, I understand the district's focus on fiscal responsibility. That's something that we can contribute to immediately. Our trips frequency create cap revenue with our salmon season launching in mid-April. We help bring in steady tourism for the fuel dock, tackle shops, hotels, restaurants. I'd say Joey and myself just alone in fuel will probably be burning about $50,000 worth in the next month. And it's, something that we want to bring to the harbor is more people. I've been down in Half Moon Bay for a long time. I fished here commercially. I've been here my whole life. It's not like I'm just coming out of nowhere. So I just wanted to introduce myself to you guys and come down and stand in front of you and say what I had to say. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Joseph?
Hi, my name is Joseph Gallia. I own and operate the charter boat New Easy Rider. I took over the boat from my uncle in 2000. Eddie has passed away, and so did the old ways of fishing. After some tough years in the fishing industry, I am one of the few charter boats specializing in salmon fishing still operating. I'm here asking for a cap for the good faith of my customers and for salmon fishing overall. Me and Big C are also Golden Gate Fishermen Association board members, so our presence operating out of Pillar Point will be beneficial to Half Moon Bay fishing. GGFA works hard to preserve and support in Central and Northern California fisheries and is doing a lot of work behind the scenes to keep salmon fishing alive and thriving in the future. I am an independent, family-owned business that advertises and books my own boat. I have established clientele and already have customers booked well into the first 2 weeks of salmon opener starting April 11th. In the past years, I have ran south to Pigeon Point in April to catch salmon from Berkeley. This trip takes longer, burns more fuel, and can be sloppy coming around Silver Rocks depending on the weather. Leaving Pillar Point gives my customers the best opportunity for fishing time. Bringing my boat here will also benefit the harbor and Half Moon Bay because people will be coming here for multiple days, stopping in shops, staying in hotels, and seeing how great it is here. Historically, I've had more people wanting to come on my boat than I have space for. And this extra business will spill over to the other boats running. I believe Pillar Point can be the premier destination for people wanting to catch springtime salmon and other fisheries throughout the year. But it starts with letting elite charter boats like the New Easy Rider able to operate here and bring excitement and experience of really good salmon fishing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anybody online?
Let's see, hold on. Yep, we have Matt Archer.
Okay.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear
go
you.
ahead.
Okay. My name is Matt Archer. I'm the owner operator of Here We Go Sport Fishing. I am attempting as a captain to relocate to Half Moon Bay in order to participate in the spring fishery. I am a current and former tenant at Pillar Point Harbor on and off dating back to 2010. I've been a licensed captain since 2014, operating exclusively out of the Golden Gate in the West Delta. I have without knock on wood, a clean safety record and a vessel that's been 100% reliable without any call-offs. My goal is to be able to bring my regulars and take them fishing and enjoy not only the salmon fishing, but the tuna fishery from a closer location in a safer manner. I will fish this no matter what, but whether or not I do it at a pillar point out of the Golden Gate is going to be the issue. Like the other boats have mentioned, operating out of the Golden Gate is going to be very expensive. And then we have safety issues, especially in the springtime, that I'd like to at least curb a little bit by having a choice to be able to run out of Pillar Point. A 20-mile run versus a 50-mile run from the Golden Gate is a huge difference. And my clients who will be fishing with me will fish with me regardless if it's out of Pillar Point or if it's out of the Golden Gate. And I'd love to be able to bring them back to Pillar Point with me so they can enjoy everything that Pillar Point has to offer. That's the hotels, the Oceana, all the other beautiful restaurants and environment and the vibe that Pillar Point has to offer, and give them that experience this year. And whether or not we continue this full time or part time will be dedicated, basically predicated on business and how well business goes. But anyways, I thank you for your time and your consideration. And I look forward to being able to have the opportunity to be able to do this along with the other six packs.
Thank you very much. Any more? No?
Smitty?
Okay.
Smitty, go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So as being a contributing member of this harbor since 1998, when I first applied for my commercial activity permit, it took me several months to be able to get that permit through the vetting process and the different issues that were required to get our permits. I see that process now just being basically overlooked and circumvented from what we had to do. And I kind of take a little umbrage with that it cost me so much time, hard time and labor, money to do that. As far as passengers go, I am full for the weekends here, but we're still struggling for weekday passengers here in our harbor. And the other part of this is that when the fish are up off of the Marin coast, we lose a lot of business up to the city and to these other boats because we do not relocate. Part of my original contract with the harbor was that I had to lock in that I was paying for my berth rent for the year and that I committed to that for the year, along with a $10,000 security deposit. I see that I haven't heard any parts of that being discussed in this, and I would like some of these issues addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Melanie, any more?
Nope, no more hands raised.
No more hands raised. Thank you all for your comments. We'll have some discussion by the commissioners. Who would like to start off? Tom?
As I said at our last meeting, I think the entire commercial activity permit process should be completely overhauled and redone. Bob and I worked out of this harbor together when there was 15 large boats, 50 to 65 feet, and they're running with good crowds. We're down to 4 boats, 250 or 53 foot, and the rest are all in the 40s or a handful of 6-packs. This breaks my heart to not see more people. I'm going to totally support bringing more boats in to see the harbor, to see that people don't pay for parking here. When I talk to people that home port out of Emeryville and Berkeley, they talk about they have to leave their windows down and their car unlocked because the cars are broken into so often. We don't have that here at Pigeon Point. I think that this would be an ideal time to review the cap with our remaining lessee that does not have the double green light that we have with all the other lessees that we have now. I'm very puzzled how somebody has 8 commercial activity permits for 30 years and does not fill the other 8 or other 7. So I think this is something we have to look at. Should they wish to apply back to the harbor for a specific commercial activity permit like everybody else, I could see that. But I don't see a reason for somebody to sit on 8 commercial activity permits and then not use them. So along that line, I'm going to move that authorize the general manager to approve commercial activity permits for small passenger vessels and uninspected passenger vessels, also known as 6-pack, up to the limit defined by ordinance to vessels regardless of the vessel's home port.
Okay, we have a motion. Does anybody want a second?
Second for purposes of discussion.
Very good, thank you. And we will now open it for more discussion.
Thank you.
Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
Before we do that, and it's a semantic question, and the general manager can throw his pen at me for asking a dumb question. But we have authorized for so many vessels. The harbor manages 8 of those, correct? Why does the general manager need a motion to do what the general manager should have been doing with those 8 anyway? Or is that something, is there something different that we're voting on here that, because you would think with the 8 that we manage, you would already have the authority to do what you needed to do.
Our ordinances require caps, commercial activity permits to be individually approved by the board.
Oh, okay.
It's our
So,
board
yeah, I knew it was
policies.
But in this situation, if the board
Okay.
if the board votes to issue commercial activity permits for salmon season starts the 11th.
Right, no, I understand.
We would have to call the board back in to, so the
Well, I
only
mean,
thing
that's
that,
why we're having this meeting today.
right.
I get it.
So
Okay.
but if another boat comes in tomorrow and we have the permits, that motion allows me to issue that permit up to the limit.
Correct.
And then follow on with Commissioner Mateusz's discussion, which I think a majority of the board supports, is that we need to completely review how commercial activity permits for vessels are managed and issued.
Well, actually, the board voted to do that, and that's going to the finance committee for review of all the policies for commercial activity permits.
I stand corrected.
That was decided on at the last meeting.
But we don't have to wait until the result. of
No, that's
finance
why we're
comes. So
having
that-
this
okay,
meeting.
okay,
So
okay.
there are 2 things going on. So if I may,
Yes,
through the
sure.
chair.
Sure.
So I actually heard back from some of the people who've signed the petition and from other slip holders who are not from here. And everyone agrees, and I've heard from some of the restaurants and, because people are watching this, that they do want more activity down at the harbor. There's no question about it. But at the same time, I think that it's important for us to look at the mix of what we've got so that we can actually staff and maintain the harbor in the way that it needs to be maintained and what our current tenants are hoping for. So I don't disagree with your motion, Tom, but here's what I would like to do. I would like to take what the general manager has today and do this as a pilot program right now until the end of 2026 and use that data to carry through what the board has been charged to do, which is to review and revamp our commercial activity permit policies. So that this is just more data that we can see, and because I don't know what this is going to look, and none of us really know what it's going to look like. And well, so today, Jim, I mean, I'm assuming that this is you're looking at the first motion, but I would like that to be as a pilot program, just so that we have data to look at this and try to find out what the right mix is. Because I hear what the current tenants are saying too, but I will say this, I don't like the fact that we haven't issued, at least Half Moon Bay Sports Fishing hasn't issued the other 7 permits in a very long time. And that seems to me out of the control of the Harbor District. And we are an enterprise district, and we do need to bring in revenue, especially if we're going to maintain this harbor. And where I think it's 65% of our income it comes from independent revenues, and I think 30, is that right, Jim? 35% taxes and 65% revenue. So we do need to have that revenue stream. We have to have it, and no ifs, ands, or buts. And so, Tom, if you are amenable to amending your motion and making this a pilot program so that we use the data, and it's a time certain to the end of the year, which is the original staff report from last week. I'd appreciate it.
I, Tom or Jim or both. I thought the motion Tom made was for goats. Thank you. You should have a little rubber band you can fire at me.
Yeah.
A spitball. Anyway, I thought that was our existing policy, and I didn't read a time limit in the motion. Is it a change to our existing policies and practices?
Existing policy and practices are when we receive a commercial activity permit, like we did for outer limits, staff prepares it and brings it to the board for consideration.
Okay.
That's what we did on the last board meeting. The board wanted a little bit more information and asked that it be brought back before the board for further consideration. And at the board meeting, it was also mentioned that we had other applications pending. Those applications were completed and included in this package. So we have a total of 4 applications for commercial activity permits. And we are following the normal procedure right now, the required procedure that we've been following forever, is bringing them to the board for consideration. The only thing different that the pilot project or the motion does is authorize the general manager to sign any further cap applications without bringing them to the board, as long as I stay within those or the limits set by the ordinances, which is 16 and 6. And further, with the cap, we have 5 available caps for uninspected or for inspected vessels, the larger boats. The 6-packs, we only have 1 available cap for a 6-pack, unless the board makes an exception and allows for 2. But we do have 2 applications. So if the board approves the first motion as drafted, I cannot approve both 6-pack applications. I can only approve 1. And my basis for approval will be the date of the application signature, where it's first. If the board says 2, that we'll issue the 2, and no further, because it'll be capped by the ordinance.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Tom, did you?
I didn't have my mic on, I'm sorry.
Intend to have that change happen with the 6-packs?
6-packs are an entirely different animal from what the 2 public speakers in the room, and I don't know about the other speaker. I'd like to see some big boats come in and bring large numbers of people. I think when we're talking about this being an interim project examined by the end of the year, because of the time deadline for this salmon opener, I would say approve all these things. And like the general manager pointed out and he's heard, we've got to review the entire commercial activity process. And right now, how do we get more vessels, more people coming through the harbor, more people visiting Half Moon Bay and Pillar Point if we set any kind of restrictions on this for now? The entire program has to be gone through and reviewed. Right now, it's kind of the more the merrier. Like we're an enterprise district. We need people coming in. We need people spending money. So I'd say approve what's on the table now. Approve the 2 gentlemen in the room. If there's another big boat, fine. This is a work in the making. So let's go for it and see how things shake out. There's going to be, this is March. We've got 9 more meetings this year, about, not counting special meetings. If we have to make an adjustment or revisit the issue, there'll be more than enough time. There'll also be time for an update and see how it's going. Perhaps this harbor is going to be so lovely, somebody will want to stay. Maybe some boats will come in and say, you know what, we really like Bob and Cherry. We're going to take a couple of those permits as well. But let's build this business up and make sure that people think about the 4.5 hours of commute time that this is going to save. That's commute time only. That's just sitting on a boat rolling while you're waiting to get to a fishing location. Let's take it easy on the general public and see where this is going. Like we say, this is a work in progress. Let's not slow down progress.
So Tom, let me ask you a question, or the general manager. Oh, I'm sorry.
I asked Tom the question. I asked Tom the question, and Tom, who is usually so brief, gave us, as usual, good information. I have one more question, and we received a text from Dwayne Winter. And he is a small local business, and he's saying this will have an impact on that will be negative to our local fishing fleet. And I'd like to know what opinions are on that, because those guys are our bread and butter. Those guys, if we didn't have those guys, this would not be the coast side. So
believe it was
what's your opinion on that, Tom?
I believe Mr. Gallia pointed out one of the 2 public comments. The more people that come down here, the more people are going to see our harbor. If there's boats in this harbor now that aren't full, why wouldn't somebody say, why would I go to Berkeley, Emeryville, Sausalito, or someplace? Why not just come straight to Pillar Point Harbor? So I think that it's going to give us greater exposure. People have forgotten that Half Moon Bay is a fishing destination. How do we build that back up to when, Smitty spoke earlier, Bob spoke earlier? The 3 of us, long time existed in the days when there was 300 plus fishermen going out of this harbor on a day. We can't get a third of that now if we filled every single boat.
Okay. And so I'll finish my questions. I'll just make a statement. I agree with Tom. And I would like to see us bringing more business back. Certainly my professional business as a McDonald's operator taught me that if you don't have anybody close to you, nobody has a reason, competition. If you don't have competition and other things to draw people in, you lose money in the long run. So I would like to see more boats here. And I also want to see a revamp of what we're doing and looking at the prices that Jim has gotten together for us. I think I'm glad this is going to the Finance Committee first, but I've heard several problems. And one is this district needs to look and make sure people are properly notified. If we have somebody who's come and spoken to us, we need to keep them properly informed of when our next meeting on that subject is. I believe we need to clarify the process so that people are very clear. I like checklists. Being a McDonald's operator, we lived and died on checklists. And I have 2 suggestions that are part of this. One is perhaps people could make a deal with Keat to have places for their RVs reserved for fishing season. So they could bring their RV over here, stay in the Mavericks RV lot, not the other ones. make it easier. Tom, you've always talked about how there used to be inexpensive hotels here and now we don't have that. So maybe we could figure out how to improve that. And I just had this wild idea, and I'm throwing this out for all people who are interested in this and have spoken. In the not too distant future, God and the attorneys willing, we will have a restaurant to lease out, I believe, maybe, strongly. And I would love to see somebody work with a local fisherman and create and get the fisherman's co-op to hire a good business restaurant manager and call it the PPH Fisherman's Co-op Restaurant and Bar. Because and fish sales, because all three of those are important here. So those are wild and crazy ideas of mine. The last ideas represent no discussion with anyone on this board, not even much with the public. And so if you're upset about that, send your notes to me, not the board. It's not Jim's fault or anybody else here. It's me. But I would like to see us building business here. Thank you.
As president, I'm not pardoning you, so.
That you don't have to.
Bill?
I guess as I hear, oh, thank you. Listening to the discussion, I am swayed by Tom's argument of trying to bring as much visibility to the harbor as we can. I'm not unsympathetic to the plight of the bait shop and what makes sense for them and what keeps them alive and interested in being a partner here. So I don't want their interest to be kind of lost in this whole discussion. I don't have a solution to that. But I think for the interim in this pilot project, I think this is the best decision to take.
Which?
Tom's proposal.
So a quick question on that motion. As a pilot program, would that be for a certain species that we're limiting for a while, or the calendar year? We'd want to do a pilot program. I know you mentioned 2026. Okay, but
Which was the original staff report timeframe from last week, the end of this year, 2026. That was, so the original report was about, is it Circle C's permit? Big C's permit. And that was from the report. So I was just taking those provisions out to 12, I think you said 12/31/2026 was the permit timeframe. I can pull it up.
The board can make a motion, just put a time limit on my authority to sign caps without coming to the board. So you can put a time limit on it, say up until December 31st, 2026.
Right, but the thing is, to answer Bill's question, that was the time frame that I was thinking for, and George's, for the pilot program, just so that we get data too, but also respecting that, you know, that the current tenants bring up certain, beyond just Bob and Sherry, I was hearing from others as well, bring up certain, good points about, just a good balance between recreational and commercial, all of that. So, and they may not know as much as Tom, but that's why I'm just throwing that idea out there. And the pilot thing was, the issuing of the permits would be immediate, but the time frame would be to the end of the year.
And as, excuse me, Ms. Palmer, as stated by Commissioner Matoush on the motion, that would limit me to the regulations as drafted. So 6 uninspected and 5 additional inspected. But again, we have 2 uninspected on the desk right now. So the board would have to make a separate motion or increase this motion to include increasing the number of uninspected caps to 7 or to 7. To be able to get that approved. Just
With respect to the president's inquiry as to species, there's salmon fishing, rock fishing, there's albacore fishing, there's bird watching. There's so many different activities to be performed on these boats that I would not limit it to anything that you can do on a boat and charge money for is fair game.
Sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate that. I think there's a lot of excitement in the air. I'm an oceanographer by profession and coastal engineer. I don't operate a boat. I don't make money from boats. The only boats I've been on is when the government comes and takes me out there and I do things out in the ocean. But there's excitement. I mean, it's like over 3 years now or 3 years, no salmon at all. Last year, only twice. And it was mayhem around here with so many people want to go out. Now the excitement is that it looks like they're going to open it up even further. And slowly, I'm hoping things can get back in the future. We don't know what the future holds. But that's why I like the motion with the modification of it being a pilot program for 2026. So, and then we can evaluate as we go forward. So,
Well, so I
Go ahead.
just asked Tom to amend his motion.
Yep.
So if he doesn't do that, there's a motion, or I can do a substitute motion.
I'll amend my motion that this will be a pilot program that'll expire December 31st. At the same time, I'm going to reiterate my request to review any and all caps regarding inspected, uninspected vessels, the caps that we have that are not being used, why aren't they being used, and what can we do to further charter boat or small boat activity in this harbor?
I'll amend my.
you're seconding the amendment of the second. Sounds good. We have a motion, we have a second.
We have, who's ever taking the notes here, do we have a clear statement?
Do you want to reread the,
Restate it?
restate
Do
the motion?
you, yeah, for the
Maybe
motion.
Melanie could restate it?
Well, as far as like authorize the general manager to approve commercial activities with small passenger vessels and uninspected passenger vessels from their 6 packs up to the limit defined by ordinance to vessels regardless of the vessel's home port and serve as a pilot program until December 31st, 2026.
Does that work for you, Jim?
that will limit me to only one
That's-
6-pack that I can issue.
Do you want a second motion for that or?
No, just amend
That's
your
completely up to the
motion.
board. I just want to make sure that the board's clear that I have 2 and 2. And I can, with that motion, I can approve the 2 inspected, but I can only approve one of the 2 6-packs.
What I would suggest doing in, is saying this up to a limit of the 6 inspected and 7 uninspected vessels that would give you that additional authority for one.
Yeah, just
So we could do both of the.
That's
The 6-pack.
below the limit in the regulation, which is fine, that instead of 8 permits, it'll be down to 6. So I'll be able to issue 1 more permit without coming to the board for an inspected vessel. I can approve both of these and 1 more.
And one more, the inspected
These
ones,
are the maximum number that he can.
right, okay.
So that would lower the authority below the
Below the
amendment. And it would up for, I can't issue, after I issue these 2 6-packs, I can't issue anymore.
Right,
Which
that's
is-
not what Tom's saying, right?
No. The current allows plenty of vessels. What we're missing is the 1 6-pack. And personally, I'd say let's take that up on a subsequent motion.
Okay.
So let's call for
You
the,
want to do this motion first.
let's call for the question on this one.
Okay.
The motion second, there was a call for question, so there's no more discussion. Can we get a vote? Melanie, you want to roll call vote, please?
President Domrat,
Yes.
Commissioner Chang Corrali,
Aye.
Commissioner Mathush,
Aye.
Commissioner Slater Carter, Commissioner Zemke.
Motion carries. Do we want to have a discussion on the second element of how many more we can allow the general manager to approve? Tom, you want to make a quick motion and see if we can get through it?
I'd like to make a motion that the general manager can approve up to one more six-pack coming in that's immediately on his desk, and that anything subsequently he would just bring to the board as a motion. Typically, we approve these things on consent anyway, but just so that the board is kept in the loop.
You want this to be part of him too?
Yes, because he's being
This is
approved
a
now, yeah.
pilot Program, yeah.
Anything before December 31st, so everything,
Be there.
yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I just want to make sure, because it's a separate motion, that it would still be a part of the pilot program. And that your authority would end at the end of this year.
Yeah, I'll move that the general manager approve up to one more six-pack as part of the evidentiary program that we're looking at until December 31st. If anything else comes up and crosses his desk of necessity, he'll bring that before the board at that time in the usual manner.
I'll second that.
And there's a motion and a second. Discussion, any public comment on that second part? No,
I hope you're right. We all want more business.
do.
We do. I just hope it works out the way you think it will.
Any, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead,
Yeah,
sir.
sorry, it's hiding behind the podium. We would all love to see more business, more boats in the harbor. And yes, we miss the days of unlimited 49 people a day with 16 boats. You're never going to see it again. Never
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
With the fisheries and the restrictions being done, the charter boats and the CPFVs and Northern California especially have been on the decline ever since 2001. And they're continuing to decline. And that's why we're in the space we're in. We had 5 boats at one time in our harbor, and one man died and COVID happened. That basically is what really kind of killed it. And it's killed a lot of businesses, and everybody's trying to hang on right now. And that's where a lot of this argument is coming from, is everybody's trying to do what they can for themselves. And it's got to that. But seeing 16 boats, I don't think that's a pipe dream. It's never going to happen. I'm sorry, but I respect your wishes.
Any other comments from the public?
Smitty would like to talk again? Smitty would like
Yes, sir.
to,
Yeah, please.
go ahead.
Okay, I'm sure you can hear me. One of the comments that was made, again, is about having 16 vessels that were working out of our harbor. And again, I agree with Bob that that's a pipe dream. Our harbor is never going to have that again because there's so much more vessels up in the bay. Our constituents come from the Bay Area, and there's a lot more access to vessels up there. We're in a small market, and our small market is only so big. It's a pie, and we're trying to cut that pie even smaller and smaller. Again, as I said, when with our commercial activity permits, we are responsible for staying in the harbor for the period of our permits here, and I don't hear any of that financial aspect being addressed anywhere in any of this. Thank you.
Melanie, anybody else online?
Let me see. No more hands raised.
Hands raised. Okay, any discussion by the commissioners? No? No, saying none?
We have to roll call for this.
Sorry?
We have to do a roll call.
A roll call, yeah. Melanie, can you do a roll call vote for this one?
President Domrat,
Yes.
Commissioner Chang Corrali,
Aye.
Commissioner Mathush,
Aye.
Commissioner Slater Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we,
We have another public comment. Do you want to take it?
We've already voted, but yeah, sure.
Okay. Marie, go ahead.
Yes, hi. So a lot of people know me as Marie Ingalls. Unfortunately, I've been upstate New York now since 2011. I just have to say, growing up in Half Moon Bay, being Bob and Sherry's daughter, I'm very blessed with the memories I have here in the harbor. I've seen it change now over 30 years because that's how old I am. I just want Half Moon Bay to stay the way it is because it's such a blessing for how small it is. And yes, we are a small community, understand business, understand growth, but at the same time, to keep what we have is so rare because I've been from New York, Long Island, upstate New York, where literally my next door neighbor is a hay farmer. And I love small towns. Half Moon Bay is a small town. Again, I understand growth and business, but just please do right by Half Moon Bay. That's all I say for my generations and generations to come. I'm a millennial and I'm saying that, and it's so refreshing to come to Half Moon Bay. That is such a small town. People wave to each other. People know their names, and sometimes the gossip isn't so good, but that's what small towns are about, and that's what we need to thrive and still have because the Bay Area is overrun. Well, yes, millennials, people that are not from California and don't respect California as for what she is. The beauty, the everything we have in Half Moon Bay again is just so very rare. And then just I don't know, just as much as we can, just do right by us. That's all we're asking. I mean, again, we're not trying to stop businesses. We're not trying to stop people from expanding or making money and things like that, but just keeping what Half Moon Bay is for what it is. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.